But wait, we got to say everything again that we just said. We got to talk about that. We got. Okay, bye.
That was a good conversation, though.
We're better together with Ann and Heather.
Welcome back to Better Together with Ann and Heather. We are so happy to be back for our second season.
It's been a minute.
It has been.
And in celebration, we're having champagne.
We are.
When we popped it, it didn't pop and there weren't any bubbles.
Well, that's because our listeners are our poppers.
We're taking that as a good sign.
That's right. That's exactly right. You can drink alcohol no matter if it's bubbly or not.
Or good or bad.
We want to say that it has been, it has been a little bit of time because we've been rejiggering our whole message, our thought process. We've gotten together as a team and really started focusing on what we want. But also, I just want to say with the commitment with Better Together, I want to say that I am committed to bettering myself with you and with Ryan and with our team and with our listeners. And I think that's really what our commitment is this year, to really getting on guests who help us further the joy and commitment to ourselves and others that we want, and getting more intimate and a little bit more vulnerable with sharing our honesty around that.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I think we need to backtrack a little bit and explain to everybody what took us a minute to get back. We had always planned to come back in January. And then Ann and I got COVID.
I mean, not only COVID, I got the first kind of COVID.
So did I, because you gave it to me. So I got the same kind too.
I gave it to you. See why we got into a fight?
Well, you got it first, so then you totally gave it to me. I think we both got it at that movie premiere.
Let's just say, let's blame it on me.
Let's blame it on the Tender Bar movie premiere. That's what we're going to do.
Let's blame it on George Clooney. Nothing I like better than blaming COVID on George Clooney's premiere.
So yes, right before Christmas, we got...
That was the mail being dropped.
Yeah, we got COVID and rang in the new year with COVID.
And it was really, really difficult. I thought I was going to avoid the whole thing. And actually, to be honest with you, I kind of made fun of people being sick. I was like, why are so many people sick? I mean, come on, is this thing like, do people can't kick it? I have to eat my words on that one, because whoever went through and is continuing to go through getting this horrendous illness, it knocked me and shook my world in a way that was more surprising than I thought. It was emotional. It was vulnerable. I fell down the steps. I am a person who...
It was lonely.
It was lonely. We had to cancel Christmas with the kids. I had a Christmas tree up and all these, I share custody with both of my son's fathers. And so it's every other Christmas. So of course, when Christmas comes, it's like, oh my God, I got my two boys, and it was such a difficult year for everybody. So I have to commend everyone who made it through the last year with COVID being a part of our lives, because it was so difficult. So it was really wanting to be a celebration, and
it took us a minute to get better. Like, it didn't just go away. We had that, what they call the long COVID.
The long COVID. In fact,
I'm still dumb.
You know what? It dumbed me down, and I'm still dumb too.
I know.
Well, good. It's a good thing you're listening to Better Together. That's why we have guests on, to help us be better. But I think also we left the year with and I really want to get into what our fight was, because we said we got into a fight. And of course, you think, oh, Ann and Heather can't fight, do they? I mean, they're best friends. We do. And I would love for you to kind of describe what it was about.
It took us a minute to like unpack like what, and it all kind of comes down to the whole reason we're rejiggering the show too. And,
yes.
and there's a real delicate balance between what you have to package to sell and what you want to do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So Ann is incredibly creative and comes up with fantastic ideas that she wants to share. But me, somebody who's had an entire career, 30 some years, is that possible? Am I that fucking old?
So
a long time in PR that my job is
and that's
to
the first time she said she's old. Usually I'm the one who's old. I really appreciate you putting yourself into my category.
It's a push-pull for me, because she'll present something to me that I don't think is safe.
I'm like, look at this video. It's so cool. Oh my God. I've been working on this thing, and look at the light show, and oh my God. And it's so interesting. And I can use binoculars and look at the lights on the tip. And she's like, no.
Right, because I am protective of you, and I think people are going to be critical, and I don't think that people are going to take it in the way that you meant it to be.
Right.
And I know that the world is small and doesn't see things for what they are. And you have to play the stupid fucking game.
Well, I think it's been the story of my life. I mean, obviously, I got blacklisted for standing up for something that I believe in called gender-free love, by the way. And that in and of itself was such a ridiculous notion. And the ostracization I got from that is what has shaped my life, is why we are our partners and everything else, because the backlash that I get for what seem like really sane ideas to me seem insane. And let me just clarify what I think crazy is. I think crazy is what we call things, the distance between what we don't understand in others and our inability to ask and join our lacking superpower called curiosity. And that's part of what we are doing here. We are asking the questions that we want answers to, that will further ourselves, because the conversation isn't encouraged enough to say, hey, wait, I don't get that. And Heather's right. And I will say this, Heather, you can take this to the bank. Heather is correct. I was absolutely not understood for my ideas. People did look at them as strange. And part of what we want to talk about is, yes, you have to push boundaries. Yes, you have to be a creative person. Yes, it is my responsibility to further creatively who I am. I mean, one of the challenges in life is that at 52, I got to continue to be interesting. Yeah. Hopefully.
I'm raising my hand for the listeners, because I want to get in here.
Go.
And I think that the irony is that you are you and I am me, because as I said before, somebody who is in PR to be aligned with you, what a fucking nightmare in a way, or genius.
What?
Right?
Right, exactly.
I don't know which.
It's a 50-50 shot, as we say. Some days it's a yes, and some days it's a no.
Here's the thing, though, that we also decided. While we have to package things and sell them and all of that for Hollywood and for that whole world, we're not packaging shit for y'all.
That's right.
We're giving it to you straight, which is also why, if you can't see me, but I'm wearing a t-shirt. I'm wearing my own ratty old t-shirt, because Anne used to make me dress fancy for the podcast. And I used to have to wear, she's like, we got to look presentable.
I mean, she did look absolutely gorgeous.
Well, no, but I'm not wearing any more silk shirts or any more of your fucking clothes. Well, yes, I am sometimes.
Well, my God, now we're acting like I have a cheesy closet.
No, because they're fancy, and I'm not. I am more comfortable in jeans and a t-shirt, and that's who I am, and that's who you are.
Fake eyelashes and hot pink lipstick.
Shut up.
Okay, so I go makeup free. I'll just tell you this.
Fine.
But listen,
in
Miss Head to
jacket
toe with her fake nails, and she's
Target,
the fancy pants.
I'm in my Target shirt.
Yeah, but at least it says love on it.
So we're a juxtaposition.
We're the yin and the yang, and I like it.
Here comes
Ryan.
Here comes
Come
Ryan.
on in, Ryan.
Hi. Let's tell everybody about the new format of this show.
Okay, so what came?
He always comes in with business.
Yes,
he's like our.
What came from this is that we all, the three of us, put our heads around really what we want to do and how we want to restructure it. So
what's authentic to us? Like what feels right? And what we were doing is we were bringing a lot of we were really focused on bringing celebrity guests, and that doesn't mean we're not going to still bring a celebrity guest from time to time. But what we really want to do is have you guys spend this time with us and really get something out of it. Really learn, and frankly, so do we. We want to learn something.
That's what I said. I am committed to becoming better, not only a better human being, but also understanding how to navigate territories that I don't. I think there's the fact of the matter is, if there is something that is hurting in anybody or in all of us or in a society, then there's help, and we want to find the helpers, and we want to find it with joy, and we want to find it with love, and we want to find it with honesty, and really sit with people who are going to. I mean, we have spiritual leaders, we have authors,
we have anti-aging experts.
I mean, we
have motivational,
we have education
speakers. We have people who are going to talk to you about how to have self-confidence when you think you suck. Just the list goes on, and also just really interesting, inspirational stories and all the good stuff. I mean, let's get better together.
Let's get better together. I'm really excited about what we're doing, and we are going to force Ryan to be the male voice in our very female cha-cha-cha right here.
He's going to call business meetings throughout the podcast. He is business meetings.
But one of the things that we thought we would start with too is what it means. Our philosophy really is living in loving kindness, and we just wanted to define what that means, and I would like for us all to do that. But for me, when I thought about it in the most simple way, it was that I think that living in loving kindness is making decisions that are as truthful as possible, first for yourself, but in addition, taking into consideration others. And that begins with you and the commitment to your own practice of joy, which we're going to talk about. We would like to ask a question in each one of our podcasts, to our guests and to ourselves, and at the end be able to deliver a message that helps us further activate that.
So it's kind of like a promise. It's kind of like we're gonna dig into this one question, and we promise by the end of the episode we're going to have an answer to that question.
So mine is today, with the Living in Loving Kindness, we are going to be able to promise you some ways to
what does it mean?
Activate that for yourself.
What does it mean to live in loving kindness is the question.
Well, to me, I just told you.
And what does it mean to not be a dick?
Well, you tell me, what does it mean not to be a dick?
Well,
what does it mean to you?
Well, I mean, I think don't be a dick speaks for itself, actually. I think live in loving kindness is a little more layered. And as you said, I think it's about activating it. It's about when you're faced with an active decision to do the one that is living in loving kindness. And it's not always easy.
I got to tell you, I was asked that, and I'm just going to lay this out because I just can't believe that I'm in this situation again. Obviously, I'm a person to have an affair with. I'm not really a person that's marrying material. As I've been seeing on my little bit of my dating excursions, because the second time
she gets hit up by married men,
I was confronted, with a married man and an opportunity to, guess what?
This one was a little more appealing. This one was probably a little harder.
This was more difficult. But as I was, metaphorically packing my bags to go in,
you weren't metaphorically packing your bags. You were actually packing your bags. We said we weren't going to bullshit.
I didn't get the underwear in. Okay. I stopped before
you
then.
started to pack your bags. Exactly. Metaphorically would be if you were sitting there thinking, like, what am I going to pack? No, not when you get your suitcase out and start putting stuff in it.
Well, I think that's what. Then I started, and this is where I want to talk about the practice of joy with yourself, because as soon as I started feeling like this is really weird, I'm like packing to go see a man that is married, and if we pay attention to that thing that feels weird, it is, if it feels weird, it is weird. Yeah. And I just started, it's like, maybe I was metaphorically sweating, or perhaps I was like, I'm starting to engage in something. My everyday practice is to live in truth with no hiding. And the very thing I was about to engage in selfishly was, who cares? I get to go and have sex, and isn't that going to be fun? And he's so handsome. I hope we have a steak dinner.
And it's also not your, and it's also
wrong with me.
You could people justify it by saying, like, well, I'm not married. That's his problem.
Right, I'm not married. And by the way, he could justify 19 different ways, or a million different ways why he's justified in having an affair. The fact of the matter is, the second I enter into something that is a lie, it's my responsibility. And that's what living in loving kindness is. For me, these are not easy practices. I did not want to make this decision. But the reason we have a practice is so that we can rely on those things when we feel weird to go back to. And the first of my personal practice is practice resistance. And that's number one. And I was like, let's resist for a moment what I'm about to go do and take a look at this from a different perspective. That's where intelligence comes in with our emotions, because my emotions wanted to go and really feel loved and be loved. And I mean, come on, that was a really appealing thing. What wasn't appealing was waking up the next morning and going, I have participated in a lie. I've hidden, no matter if this woman knows that he's done this or not, is none of my business. To live in loving kindness is a choice. And that's why I go back to saying the decision making is to be truthful with yourself as much as humanly possible and take into consideration what others is. And that's really the practice of me of what better together is. Ding, that must be my time, because Ryan's watch went off. So, anyway, but that's kind of the execution. The answers aren't always exactly easy, but if you have a practice that you've established with yourself, and I think this is what we want to encourage and why we say we want to activate things, we want to encourage the moving forward with yourself in an honest way and paying attention to yourself. Because when you pay attention to yourself and honor your own practice of love and joy, then you get to wake up in the morning and look at other people with joy and happiness and not wonder if if you're living with shame on your face, which is when the next comes up, the dick on your face, which is what I would be if I wanted to have an affair.
That saying, hurt people, right?
Hurt people.
So you every once in a while you see those like angry, mean people that will say the most cutting, horrifying, mean things.
That's it, because they're angry at themselves, and that's really what the furthering of living in a lie is. Because you still have to justify that you're right, and that fake smile comes up on your face, and you really pretend the next morning after you just had sex with a guy who's married that you're okay with it. And then the shame that hits you when you're on the plane, and then you don't want to tell your friends, and then you're horrified at yourself. So what we're trying to do is stop the things that hurt us by recognizing with our intelligence the things that we know and understand are good for us. And what's good for us, what joy is to live in the truth. And that is the practice of love.
I totally couldn't agree more.
So we have a little bit of those reminders which is our answer here to, how do I do that? What does living in loving kindness means? These are some hopeful your reminders of the joyous interaction you can have with yourself. And they're just fun ones. Do you want to read them with me? This is the practice of joy. Number 1, speak word, which means tell the truth.
Play music.
Make art.
Dance freely.
Weave tapestry.
What?
Weave tapestry means tell the stories, have your foundation, be in the fabric.
Not literally.
Yeah.
Not literally weave tapestry.
I was like, I'm not crafty.
You could also.
But I do like that what it means to you.
You could be, and I think these are going to be things that we talk about. But the universe is woven together with the tapestry of our truth, and that is what weave tapestry means. Cultivate strength.
Laugh first.
Tell the truth.
See with clarity.
Give is the key.
100%.
Those are my practices of joy, and I hope that we can remind each other of those. And
you said something. You said something early on. You know it's wrong, or you know it's right, and I think that's the thing. I think that my whole life I've always known what's right and wrong, and if you have that, well, not always. I mean, who am I fooling? But. For the big stuff,
we're pretty aware.
Stuff, and you just, there's always been something in me that just won't let me do it. I can't do it.
Yes.
Like you just can't, even if nobody would know, if
you are your own God. You are the one who wakes up with yourself,
like,
and
it's
you
just not
have
a choice.
The amount of yourself to give to others that you give to yourself. If you give 100% clarity to yourself, that's why cultivate strength is one of these, because if you start making it a habit, it becomes a part of your self-esteem.
So I would love it if everybody out there recognized a moment where you were about to say that shitty thing, or you were about to do that shitty thing, and don't do it. See how you feel. See how you feel afterwards.
Create a habit of love and joy and telling the truth. That's what our activation is this week.
Anyway, we're so excited to be back with you all, and it's going to be a fun ride, and we hope you come along with us.
Let's get better together.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And a big thanks to our Better Together team, Ryan Tillotson, Silvana Alcala, Daniel Ferreira, and of course, Ann and Heather. If you haven't already, please subscribe on whatever device or platform you're listening to this on. And as always, see you next week.